Hello, everyone. It's Alisha Braché here at Cosmic Gateway. This will be the September update and intuitive insight guidance. I can't begin to tell you how happy I am to be sitting here and recording this video. It feels like it's been a long stretch since I've done anything active on social media. I do apologize. August, or it feels like the last 6 weeks have been just a crazy manic time for me on every level. You know, on the work front, I've been deep diving into this quantum merging process, and just not just with the individuals. And first of all, let me just say thank you for everyone who has so far participated in what I feel like I'm building and strengthening. But it's also been looking at the correlation information. And that's really an exciting part for me to start to see so many anomalies, commonalities, and really trying to understand the nuances of patterns, programs, energetic templates, and how all this can be rewritten to really uh, condense or unify or to streamline this process. And once again, I've said this many times, I still feel like I'm at the infancy stage of really understanding what this process is capable of. And that is really in direct line, I feel, with where the collective of human consciousness is growing and expanding into. So um, I do apologize if I have been slow. I haven't been as present on social media, and I will try my very, very best to be a little bit more present moving forward for this month of September. So, whew, September. What can I say about September? I have a couple of key points. I haven't written any notes down specifically, but I have thoroughly enjoyed creating the artwork, and there's kind of a story behind each one of them, and it's a little bit different this time. This one feels like a bit of a like what I've been shown was it's a bit of a healing transmission. I feel like September is a deep process of connecting the energetic streamline into the physical body. That feels like it's one of the biggest highlighted themes. That is a process that potentially has already started as of maybe just as we hit the mid August, and ongoing. And there is a bit of a backstory to that. But what I've done this time is I've created the artwork based off some inspirations of what I feel is present and happening in the body, and making some correlations from experiences and memories that have come up from things that I've witnessed in the past. And what I was guided to do was just to connect in with each of the images individually and read the imprint of the artwork that has come through, a little bit like psychometry. If anyone has worked with psychometry, it's basically just reading the energetic imprint from an item, whether, often people do it with deceased loved ones, or to do like what's the word I'm looking for? It's um, a blank reading. It's like you normally put a photograph or a possession in an envelope, and then you read from it. So it's completely blank. You have no, this is a little bit different, but I was guided to place my hand over each of the artworks to just dial into some of the information that that piece of artwork wants to share. And that process was really, really fun for me. And I really enjoyed it. And for all you creatives out there, there's been a really highlighted point about how creational work is so important at this point. Whatever your art is, and it can come in such a myriad of ways. You don't have to be creating pieces of art like that. It could be through expression, through the body, through movement, through cooking, through singing. There's so many different ways that we can express ourselves. And I believe that creativity is one of the ways that soul expresses itself in physicality. So the more we can be active with that process, the more connection or access we have to our soul, to our higher self. So this month I will be hosting another wow, here we are again, Eclipse container. Um, this will start on Sunday, the 7th of September, and it will be over the course of 3 Zoom calls and daily interactions, processes, guided processes through a Telegram group. So I would love putting out the call for all those who wish to connect and participate. This one's theme is really about the soul body merging process and how we can access more of that frequency into our physical body. So, the experience that I had that has kind of set me into this process, I often, when I'm going to host something, I go into a front running process in order to be able to hold the frequency and facilitate what wants to come through. And as I mentioned, this process really started around mid-August for me. I was woken up a couple of times in the morning where there was a very particular frequency that was coming through in a very specific color. And I see this color as um, the access to the highest levels of my own consciousness. But how it's been relayed to me is it is the frequency of miracles and limitless expansion and infinite possibility. So it's like a whole host of things. And it's been actually a long time that I've been able to access that frequency. It's not just one color, it's a combination of colors that I feel is a representation of a lot of aspects of myself. And so I had a couple of days, like maybe 3 days of that coming through in the morning when I was waking up. And since then, my body's had a bit of a meltdown. So it's very clear to me that there is a lot of clearing and streamlining that needs to occur to be able to fully embody that, which is exciting, but going through it, it can be challenging and testing at times. Um, and I think the thing, if you are going through something similar, your body's kind of screaming at you, the biggest relief that I've got is just sitting in contemplation and connection with my body, and really asking what the body wants to help it transform. And then through the facilitation of creating artwork and doing sort of the transcribing, the writing, is when my body felt the freest. It felt the most expansive. All the physical pain went away. And I have to laugh at myself because those who know me know that I can quite, not a lot that gets me, but the physical body, there's still programs that I know that is operating within me, which I feel is dismantling, that I can do a massive downward spiral. And I think that's just part of the process, the alchemization, the melting pot, whatever process we're going through, things as we get to a threshold or a breakthrough, there's a breakdown before the breakthrough, so to speak, that occurs because everything starts to ping. So in being able to quiet my mind after days of just looping and a lot of fear being expressed and coming up mentally and the body responding and reacting to that, that's kind of where I've been for the most part of like 3-4 days. Today when I just kind of sat on my yoga mat, sat with my body connected to the different parts that feel like they're screaming at me, I was able to work with different types of energetic frequency and color that could then really help absorb through the body and create the energetic pathways that help not streamline but fine tune to support the energy flow helps support the physical body. And what I feel like is occurring for me And when I feel into the collective field, there's a lot that, sorry, just got something that's smashed down in my kitchen. There's a lot of heightened strange activity, not gonna lie. It's been a strange month so far. Our bodies are going through such a profound metamorphosis that sometimes can look the opposite to what the ultimate outcome is. And sometimes the remedies aren't always what would appease the mind. Some of the remedies aren't, they're intuitive, but they're not conducive to the mental construct of what we've known. And I think I've spoken about this many times as we're evolving and moving out of medical ways of being able to treat the body because we're becoming super hypersensitive. So the body's going to require more energy adjustment, more expression, sound frequencies. And I, I think what I found in my own process of what's occurring is it's beyond the transformation of what's happening in my body right now is beyond what my mind can comprehend. So the old programs of what I've known in the past and like fear program and if you've been watching my my journey over since the last eclipse, you know, landing in hospital is probably one of the biggest initiations I could go through because I hold a lot of fear around the Western medical ways of operating and treatment just based off my own experience in childhood. There was a lot of malpractice situations that occurred that didn't treat my body kindly. And also because of my contact and abduction type experiences in childhood of being poked and prodded and examined, going into lab coats and being tested and prodded, you know, the body stores so much trauma, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. And as I've gotten older and more memory and information of things that had happened to me as a child, and I think happens to a lot of us, if we are highly sensitive, if we have a certain frequency, and that's been a big part of my quantum merging induction questionnaire form is I'm gathering a lot of information of people who have had, I don't want to say the word abduction, let's say some sort of contact experience. Often our mind will wipe that and then we'll have access to it later. And I've always found that when a healing crisis occurs or something happens within the body, there's layers and levels of memory that is connected to that wants to be expressed or accessed. So it's through the process of connecting with the body to be able to heal that in a very holistic fashion and sense, you know, asking what nutrient requirements it needs, what vitamin deficiencies might be occurring, what is the stored up emotional imprint or expression, what are the memories in the body, in the fascia, in, you know, in the cells, what some of the timelines that are being, this is another thing that I've been shown is like there's a lot of clearing and reconciliation of personal timelines that's happening in dream space. And so there is an expression of that that's connected to our, I almost want to say it like our biology, our physical body. And I feel like that's connected more specifically within the nervous system. And if you think about it, when you think about our energy column that runs through our central column, you know, from the top of the head down all the way through to the base, you know, the the output of that, if you're looking at just purely from an energetic perspective, like that's our life force channel energy. And then the expression that branches out and pumps through the meridians, through the ley lines of the body, through the nervous system. And I've been shown this image quite repeatedly, is like the transformation that's happening in the cells, in the nervous system, in the blood even, has a lot to do with it's a release of the energetic timelines that are connected and attached to us. Um, so yeah, this direct correlation of deeper embodiment is essentially what is in store and what is happening. So the eclipse container is the body, the soul body merge. I think it's going to be really profound. It's going to be very transformative. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. Melbourne, Australian Eastern Standard Time for 3 consecutive Sundays, and then obviously connecting daily as well. The details of that will be in the description box below, and I invite anyone who feels like they're on the precipice jump of a transformation, but they can't quite access whatever it is that they know is just there on the horizon to join in. The way that I've designed it, or how it was showed to me, is I feel that every year there's a window period where the soul comes deeper into the physical body. And it always kind of kicks off around this time, September through to November. Ooh, my body just September through to November is often the peak time that occurs, and it is the most condensed period of time where it's energetically charged, and we have the most optimal access to transformation. So the way that I've conducted or will be facilitating this Eclipse container, it will then be placed onto the website, and you'll have ongoing access to all the audios and the processes and techniques, so that it's not entirely just a one-off process. It's something that you can access ongoing, and I think that that's going to be critical September through to November. Whew, okay. Hmm. Over the last 4 days in particular has been a very intensive time on the body, and it feels like I've gone through energetic surgical procedures, one after the other, and it's been a long time since that has occurred. Um, in particular, the places that it's been working on is my eyes, my brain, my heart, my stomach, um, nervous system. But there's two parts to this. Is the process that took me by surprise, because I've been working on different other parts that have been um, much more prevalent in my experience. Eyesight is not something that I suffer with or even really think about. But this, I was told to lay down, and all of a sudden I felt pressure being pushed right here on my third eye, but then it was going back into the physical eyes, and I could feel a lot of brain activity rewiring, and basically shown that through this month of September is another tipping point where those that have the eyes to see can be able to see beyond the veil of illusion, and to use their perceptive eyes in conjunction with the physical eyes as a metamorphosis to be able to see energy, beings, truth, frequency, and also those who have the capacity or skill set of remote viewing or psychic insight that's going to become more available. And so when I was asking for what some of the themes that we can expect as we move through September, I had a very specific dream that kind of correlates with this theme. And it was the funniest dream. I was in like a building, like an apartment complex. And I was standing in the lobby area, and there was about four elevators. And the elevator to the right came down, and I watched the doors open. Everything looked just normal, like a normal elevator would inside. I didn't get in that one. I just stood there. It went back up, and then it came back down, and the doors opened, and I looked inside, and there was um a whole bathroom that was attached to the side of the elevator. And I remember just looking at it in awe, going, what just happened? How did I not, like, I questioned myself. I'm like, did I not see it, or did that just appear, or did I just kind of do this kind of quantum jump into a different timeline? Anyway, the dream progresses, and I was in a function or a meeting room speaking with this woman. And as I was talking to her, I was very fixated on watching her teeth. She had braces on her teeth, and I was kind of watching the structure of her teeth. Um, and, just thinking in my mind, oh, I wonder how long she's had them, or, it was just kind of very sort of basic thought process. I turned away because someone else spoke behind me. So I turned to engage with another person. And as I turned back, this woman continued talking, and her braces were completely gone. And I kind of like was a bit in awe, and then like, what? Reality just completely shifted in front of my eyes. And that was the message that came through as one of the themes for September is, pay attention to reality. It's not always what it seems. And pay attention because it can go through this instantaneous metamorphosis in front of your own eyes if you have the eyes to see. So I thought that that was really, really insightful and a really interesting message. I can break that dream down into so many different ways of looking at it. And even just speaking it out loud, it's like if we want to dig a little bit deeper into those themes of reality shifting and changing before our very own eyes, there's this malleable aspect to reality. It feels very quantum like. If we want to play in that, it's available to us. And so, just as I was talking about the elevator in dreams to me always represents different states of consciousness because you're moving through the different levels or layers. And to me, that represented like watching a channel of information go to higher streams of consciousness and choosing not to go up, but to stay in the body, to stay grounded, to be, you know, in witness. And then there's additional things that come back that can be amazing, transformative. Um, Bathrooms are a place that generally I find is a portal to downloads and access and consciousness. So it's like bringing it in rather than going outside. It's like bringing everything in and to you, a direct channel to you. If we look at this woman, I believe that the teeth, um, the jaw, anything to do with the mouth is where we hold our most ancient form of DNA structure. And so when there's transformative things happening within the teeth, the jaw, anywhere in and around that space of the mouth, we're transforming on a DNA or a cellular level. And I am a big believer that as we go through physical, energetic to transform into physical upgrades, we can go through huge metamorphosis of the physical body. Um, and one thing that I've spoken about, I don't know if I've mentioned on here, but I know I've shared with people, is when I know that I'm in a heightened state or embodying my highest frequency, my teeth look different. It's like they straighten out a little bit, um, very noticeably. So that's like one, noticeable thing that I have, which physically is not possible. But when we're taking these quantum leaps and we're incorporating these different aspects of self, anything is possible. So I want to share that if anyone's going through a heavy time with the body integration aspect of it, because sometimes, like myself over the last couple of days, when you're in the thick of it, it's like you're alchemizing. You're going through a process that is weeding out all the limited programs that we have around our physical body and aging and all those crazy things that I don't really buy into, and I never do. But it's interesting when we're deep in that process, all that comes really highlighted into the forefront. Um, because it's trying to unravel itself, it's trying to process out, it's trying to think its way out. And we have I always find for my process the pressure cooker often occurs between 3 to 4 days, but I think that can be condensed and shortened. But it's like while we're in that state, we're in a much lower level consciousness because we have to be a vibration match to what we're experiencing and transforming. And then it's like once we break through that threshold, we gain the access to uh, the higher perspective, if you will. Um, so essentially, we are evolving into a new form of human template in physicality. So that's the bigger picture of it all. It's through the body that we go through the profound change and metamorphosis, but that's where we hold all the frequency of the higher self, or the states of consciousness. That's where our abilities come online. Um, and we open up to what I was called that magical frequency that is available to all of us. And we step beyond the threshold of this reality into the next version of self that's awaiting. And I do feel like that's just hanging there waiting. It always is, but I think we go through particular phases where it becomes more accessible, more ripe. And September feels like that for me. September through to, yeah. Oh, my body's just responding. September through to November um, feels really potent and pertinent to really move beyond a lot of these limitations or fear thresholds, whatever's been holding us back of late or old stuff. I feel like we have an incredible opportunity to move through that. Now, recently, in a whole host of different ways, I've had memories coming back to me of having visitations of a being that I feel is the same. Well, it could be the same being, comes from the same collective. It holds a very similar frequency, but it's shown up at various stages of my life in different physical form, different, yeah, physicality, appearance wise. And a lot of this got triggered when I was watching an interview with Chris Bledsoe, who's talking about April, so April next year, and the new, I can't remember how he phrases it, um, the new information that will come to humanity, because he had this visitation from a being that he called the lady. So this was initially what triggered Oh, I get goosebumps. This is what initially triggered it. And since then, I've had various conversations with people around very similar themes, and some of them very unknowing to my own experiences because I haven't, for memory, I haven't shared it a lot. Um, so when I was, uh, I don't know how old I was, but anyway, I know it was 2008 because I was about to go on a trip overseas where I spent about a month in Barcelona and um, a couple of weeks in Egypt. Oh, and India. um, it was one of my first big trips overseas, but it felt like I was so focused on my path and my mission, and it felt like it was going to be the biggest breakthrough at that point in my life. And about a week before I was due to depart, roughly, I remember being at a friend's house and I was just overworked mentally. I was just like basically having I don't want to say mental breakdown because that's a bit over the top, but I was just overthinking things, overworking things, just in a real mental state of not trusting, not following my heart, even though I had followed through with it. It was like what I was talking about, that breakdown before the breakthrough. And just unsure how things were going to unfold and wanting to be as carefully considered as I possibly could. And I went home that night after having deep conversations with a group of friends, and I just laid down in my bed, and I don't know if I asked for help or it spontaneously happened. I just know the lead up was conversation with friends. I got home around midnight or after just after midnight. And I guess whether I consciously asked for help or the call in me was so strong that night, I was presented with a visitation of a woman who was, well, is a female energy. She was all in white. And oh, I can actually feel the energy as I speak about it now. And she said to me, "Come with me, I have something to show you." And I was taken up out of my body and I was shown my blueprint of this incarnation. It's very hard to put into words. It was just like a lot of lines. So the best way I can describe it is um, Adjustment Bureau. If anyone's seen that, where they have the book and all the lines, that's what it looked like. It looked like a lot of blue lines running, intercepting, going all the way. And I was shown that was the blueprint of this incarnation, this lifetime. And on the outskirts, just on the outskirts, so the blue interweaving, intercepting lines went up in a column or a channel. And on the outskirts, some of the lines kind of deviated out and they would go into what I would call the red zone. So those blue lines then changed into red, but eventually they would come back in and change back color. So if you imagine like this is the soul trajectory and this is like where we can deviate, it was like keeping it all in. That is the best way I can describe it. I don't know how long I was gone. I'm sure there was a lot more that was telepathically translated to me, but that's the visual representation that keeps coming back into my mind. And what I took away from that was even if you deviate off the path, the chosen path, you will always get rerouted back. And the message that came through that really settled me was like, you can't mess this up. A lot of this is predestined. And if your humanness of your free will veers to the right or veers to the left into what I call the red zone, there will be some form of divine intervention that will always bring you back. So you're back in the loop. And that visual has been playing a lot in my mind because I feel like now what I saw, I understand as different timeline variants or variables that all intersect at some point, like there's intersection points and then goes off. And what I feel is burning away right now, especially in dream space, is the red zone. um, this is a message that I've been getting repeatedly the last couple of months, is that there's a reworking of timelines that involves greatly transformation of the physical body that goes back approximately 20 years. So where would that would drop us back into 2005. Yeah, approximately 20 years. So I don't know if that works in with anything astrological. This has just been my intuitive head that there's been a lot of rogue timelines or timelines that needed to be fully expressed through parallels that are kind of completing off in the entirety. And that's being felt by the physical body to come all streamlined back into that. And it's shown me like a pyramid. So it's like this collapsing of all these timelines that streamlines into like a one singularity point. And I feel like this is the process that we are all moving through individually. And this is ultimately what I'm exploring the facilitation of through the quantum merging process. And I'm being shown through all the different variables of how that happens within an individual. I don't feel like there's just one process. I feel like there are many different processes, and that's what I'm so grateful for those who come to me and trust in me to have that process done, because it's showing me different variables that essentially could help transform other people's lives as it starts to all come together. But essentially, that is what I believe is happening, and it's an ongoing process. This is not just for September. This started, I think, back, well, ongoing for years, but intensively, I think it started back in the last eclipse season. So back in March, I feel like we're at a closing point of a part of the process completing for the first half of September. There's like bookends that are coming up. And that's where I feel like eclipse seasons are incredibly powerful portal points. But I find that people get wild and crazy during those times, um, and not utilize it for the potency and the transformational impact that we can. So if that's just one reminder to you of like, use the power of this time in a conducive manner. You utilize, don't worry about what's going on out there. Like, you utilize it for your own inner radical transformation. So going back to this being that came to me, as I came back into my body, and it was a full out of body experience, the vibrations, my whole body, I felt myself completely leave my body. To memory that, no, I was gonna, in my adult life, to memory, that was like one of the first out of body experiences that I had. I had a series of them in 2008. When I came back, I asked her, I was like, who are you? Like, what's your name? And she said to me, I'm the lady. They just call me the lady. Well, that's how I'm referred as. And I always felt her as the energy of the embodiment of the divine feminine frequency. And I, since then, have had a couple of encounters with her specifically. I've had apparitions of white buffalo appear to me in 2013, which I felt like I had a similar frequency to it. I had a visitation of an Indigenous woman in 2015, which was on the September equinox. She also had the same frequency. So this all this has been very prevalent in my mind. What was one of the incredible things of that original experience or introduction to that being was a week late. I hadn't told anyone. Then a week later, I'd asked one of my intuitive friends if she could just do a reading for me, just to help put my mind at ease. And as soon as she started to tune in, so she had no prior knowledge of this experience. And to be honest, I may have not even fully remembered it if it wasn't for her in this reading. And as soon as she opened up, she looked at me and she said, "There's a being here that calls herself the lady," and described things as a woman, and basically reiterated that message. So the reason that I'm sharing all of that is I believe that how I've had these visitations over my lifetime, every time that this embodiment has occurred, this energy embodiment has appeared to me in various different ways. There always has been a dramatic shift that has been unforeseen that occurs in my personal life. As I tune into this energy and as I think about it, it hasn't been personal to me. I feel like it's more connected to the collective or a particular collective. That for this month of September there is unforeseen massive change that's like dawning upon that you couldn't even have considered prior to going through it. It's not always scary. It's not, well, there's fear thresholds and elements to move beyond, but it's not always negative change. It's often a catalyst of a further awakening, that gets you more back on your path, like out of the red, back into the blue. So I think that's all I'm going to share for now. I feel like there's so much more that will come through of insights that I'll probably hopefully get to share more throughout September and be more proactive on social media. At least that's my intention. Um, and I will be holding another meetup with the guided process meditation. I held one last month on 8/8, and I had intended to host one on 9/9, but I feel like it's actually going to be more later in the month around the equinox period. I feel like my main focus right now is to host this eclipse container, move through that, and then hold space for something else. I think I'm going to leave it there for now. I'm just like kind of going through yeah. Okay, so all else I want to say is if you'd like to connect with me for a quantum merging session, for the solstice container, any of the offerings, all the details will be in this description below. And I certainly look forward to being able to connect with you. So let's now move into the intuitive insight guidance. As I mentioned in the beginning, a little bit different this time, slightly, not overly, but there is a downloaded message that I would like to share before we get into the cards. So I'm looking forward to this format. All right, so let's get into artwork A, which this is the first one that came through. So my real intention for this intuitive guidance insight is not just the information and messages, but the power of the energetic transformation that can help a process that you may be moving through right now. So I'm just, before I dive into the cards, I want to share the information that came through with this piece of artwork that I spent some time writing down prior to recording. So this one speaks to the title, which is called The Eternal Heart, or the Eternal Heart Space. And when I feel into this, I feel like it's encompassing not just the energy of the heart, but the physical heart and the high heart in that entire area that is speaking loudly. And it says, allow yourself to spend time to quiet the mind, then to off, turn off so that you can softly and gently connect within. Because the heart wants to speak. It has been silenced or overwritten or overburdened and clouded by the mind most recently. Now is the time to reconnect and restore. Within the heart, you hold personal connection to transformation, healing, and by connecting with the soft whispers, allowing that powerful frequency to connect to you and through you, it allows the doorways to your next path and adventure. This connects to the true you, the higher aspect, the new earth timeline, which awaits. Will you listen? Will you hear the call? The door is open, just waiting for you to connect and transform. So, what prompted the inspiration for that piece was I went back to review something that I'd shared a few years ago that came via a dream space. And at that time, I was having a big run or sequence of what I call New Earth dreams, which is in a much more, it's like a parallel timeline that is wanting to reach and connect to us. I do believe that it's a very real reality that we at times are given glimpses of, perhaps via dreams or meditation. And this may spark something in your own consciousness of something that you have witnessed or experienced in your own memory bank of experiences, spiritual connection or soul connection. And in that dream, I had been moving back and forth between realities. And it was like, it was conveyed like traveling or going on an overseas trip or a journey into an entirely different space, but it was not a location, it was a different reality. And in that reality, there was such a level of vibrancy and access to basically every possible potential. And it was always a place of celebration and connection. And in this one particular dream, I'd been there and I had come back back into my parents' home, and I was preparing to go on my next trip. And in that particular dream, I was like, oh, how do I get back? I had a moment of like, oh, how do I can't just jump on a plane. How do I go back there? And I was instantly guided to the portal to the new earth resides within your heart. And when I looked down, I saw this glowing pink, like translucent pink energy that was kind of vibrating in my heart space. And it was like through the connection, that was how I returned. That has always stayed with me because I feel like that is not just simply a metaphor, but an actual reality. So we have a very watery theme here in the cards. And I feel like this is probably an emotional transformation as it is a heart opening based one. Every time I have gone through a period where there's been a lot of pressure and build up energetically and physically in my heart, there's also been, I'm laughing because it's like it's speaking to a lot of what I'm experiencing now, but there's been a lot of fluid buildup in the body, which is a holding on of excess emotional. It's like there's I almost get quite emotional as I say this. There's an emotional outpouring that wants to help facilitate this deeper process of connection inward. And the release feels very water-like. So it's like being able to connect with water, immerse yourself in water, take a shower, take a bath, get by the ocean, a lake, a body of water. It's like connecting with the element of water is one of the processes that helps the facilitation of the clearing much more quickly. And it's like as that stored up, it's almost like an entire energetic body system that wants to release, but it gets pulled out through the heart space. And when that gets released, there's almost like a pop or a surge that happens because it allows more soul integration to come in. And then there's this streamline of flow. I want to use the word magnificence, but it comes through in this space of like oneness, unity, but it's a frequency of love that essentially opens pathways and doorways. So it's almost like picking up a whole load that you've been carrying and being able to let it go, put it aside. And I feel like this is a sticky one and it's a little bit hard to access and get to. It's not in the forefront of the mind, it's like a hum in the background of something that has been in progress of processing. But because of the enormity of it, this is where it could potentially go quantum into parallel realities or past life, whatever's happening or occurring simultaneously to another aspect of yourself. I feel like that's potentially why it's harder to access and grab because there's an imprint that is accessible here, but the enormity of it isn't being fully revealed or shown or expressed. Mm. So we have clear waters and let it rain, clear vision, confirmation, timing, or right timing, opportunity, allowing what is, and inevitability and trust. But there's such elements of water themes going on in these cards. Like to me, when I look at these, it's such a powerful purification process. And look at here. Oh, oops, sorry, wrong one. Look here where the energy is culminating. It's coming up from the heart into the high heart, up into that thymus area, which I believe is part of where we kind of get pulled through on a soul level. And what I get the sense with this is like using part of your expression is a, an optimum way to be able to go through the release point and the access to whatever is behind all of the consciously known aspects to dig deeper because it feels like there's hidden gems in the unknown portion of whatever this transformation looks like for you. it's like trusting, waiting, ripening, because it's like whatever floods through that releases, it also yeah, it holds or contains the hidden gems of a greater level of access to information that I think is really pertinent for you to understand, that helps you evolve in your own way and own time. It's like what it feels like is there has been aspects of hidden information or memory or something that's really powerful that then allows things to make more sense and to fall into place. And it's like without that tangibility of understanding, it's like the frustration of like banging up against the door, wanting it to open. It's like once you have that piece, it's like it naturally, organically happens and is orchestrated in its perfect moment and time frame. And I feel like that's a huge theme that is wanting you to know. And when I look at time frames, so the next card is Lady of the Lake, new beginning, something's about to happen. Interesting. If you haven't watched the intro, I talked a little bit about not the Lady of the Lake specifically, but the lady. And when I look into this image, oh, sorry, it's hard to get that one into focus. No, it's not going to focus. But there's a sword and there is a crested moon. So immediately when I looked at that, I feel like that comes through a mental breakthrough. It comes through cutting through the, I want to say cutting through the bullshit. Like it's like using strong and powerful words, I think to yourself, not, it doesn't feel like it has anything to do with another, but it's like the powerful words of truth that ripple through you, that it's like being able to look yourself in the mirror or have a powerful experience where it's like you dialoguing with you or an aspect of you that then ripples through your entire experience. And when I look at that crested moon, immediately I'm then sort of drawn to the halfway mark, the halfway point of September. I feel like that's a key when we're looking at linear timeframes. That's a key breakthrough point for you of, something about to happen, that new beginning, that doorway opening. So what I would encourage you really to do is to dig deep in that process of whatever is transforming, especially within the heart space, and what you haven't access to come forward, and maybe ask those questions, to yourself, of what is it that I'm not seeing, that has been hidden. What can, oh. That just came with a wave of like data dump. There's a justice piece, like a really strong justice piece involved with this. Because instantly I had flashbacks of like New York, Statue of Liberty, seeing the justice symbol. Interesting, halfway through the month we enter into Libra season. But it feels like a reclaiming or a returning of innocence, justice. There's huge implications for this, whatever it is. It could just be justice in your own light, but something very unexpected occurring. And I get the sense that once that occurs, you're never truly able to look at life in the same way. like that shift of, reality transforming before your eyes. It's like I can't go back to the way that I was operating before. This feels powerful and pivotal on an individual basis, like a real threshold breakthrough. Okay. I'm laughing because when I took the cards out of the packet, this is the one that came upright, which is your body is like the book. Your body is like a book. So it's like listening and connecting and meditating and tuning into the body, and what it wishes to communicate to you is an unfoldment of information and data that you haven't yet been able to access, but it's like it's all there, it's ripe, it's ready. It's time for that chapter. It's like the way I see it in visual representation of turning the page into a new chapter or into a new book, but it's you get this reflection piece of all the nuances that took place in the background that you haven't been able to fully understand cognitively. It's been more subtle or energetic that doesn't provide any super in-depth context. Then that creates this radical shift of transformation. And it's like, yeah, listen to the body and the nuances and the pains and the twinges and the discomfort, because that speaks volumes. So what we have side by side here is clear the limiting beliefs and feel into the emotions. So this feels like the homework that is set out of giving yourself the opportunity to observe your mental process and be really cognizant of the repetitious thoughts and patterns and how they then impact the emotional aspect of your being. Clouded judgment. To me, also, there feels like a bit of manipulation of the mind that comes from, if you go back to the last video that I talked about, this tech that creates people in like going into awakened phases and then kind of being dialed back down and going back to sleep. There's an unraveling of certain programs or energetic layers or imprints or technologies that has kept you at a certain threshold that has been safe. But this wants to kind of peel back and allow you to move beyond the rational mind, the logical mind, the limiting aspects of the mind, so that the emotional complexity can kind of connect with your next level of higher understanding and consciousness. And there's this balancing process or harmony process with the balancing of the mind and the emotions. This may be for some people, but not everyone. But there feels like there is a tracking, energetic tracking, not of the most benevolent nature, that has been at play. I kind of get this kind of waves that may be interpreted to some degree as some sort of directed energetic psychotronic mind manipulation process. that has been in play at times, not consistently, but it has kept you small because of that, those programs. It's like literally whatever has, whether it's energetic or directed or however, it's like there are certain frequencies that your antennas can pick up because there's something in there that is compatible to that. All you have to do is like literally just pick it out, pluck it out, and remove it, which then in its place you get gifted with, like I see it as a sphere of light, of energy, um like a super consciousness aspect or element of you that can override that. Don't play into the mind or the mind games or warfare, because it keeps you in that loop that your higher consciousness wants you to really break free of and break out of. It's been put in place for a reason. I'm sure there's been lots of learning and purposes to it all that will take you to that next level, and you no doubt can assist people through those experiences. But it's like for you, it's like no more, no more. There's such a powerful kind of I can't convey it in words. I hope you can get the energetic expression of what it's such a commanding, like no more, no more. So far we've got the intimacy card and the family card. So I'm just like, I feel like there's a certain level of energetic entanglement that is playing out in the family dynamic or has done. There's an ancestral component because I feel like whatever you're breaking now within yourself hasn't been broken by previous generations. That's why the build up or the backup is so enormous. And it gets to you, and you get to that breaking point of like, no more. Intimacy card, I feel like that's separate, and I want to get more clarification around that, because that feels like it's like on the other side of this, of what I've been speaking about. Oh, okay then. That's a good clarification. So we had the little children card. So that to me is often an expression of true self, creativity, being childlike, being the words that want to cut. It's interesting. There's all this light language that wants to come through. It's being the full expression, the powerful expression of your childlike self, but in adult form. That it's like the childlike self that never got tainted, that grew up in its pure, pristine perfection. And then it's allowing that to be the center point or the pillar of light that collapses the corrupted family energetic structure. And you have the power to do that. Doesn't necessarily mean it's your role or responsibility, but you have the capacity to do that. Yeah, it's real breakthrough, break free of restraints, control, limitation, lack. purposelessness. These are some of the programs that have been running through the belief systems, through the energetic tree of the family lineage. But it feels like everything's compressed to this point now, and there's like an explosion of light that is like activating you to that next level. And here we go. It's like, and here we go. So the intimacy card often talks about accessing a deeper level of intimacy between a relationship of a romantic connection or nature. And I wasn't really sure where that fit because it wasn't really based around anything or anyone else. But there is, okay. Mm-hmm. And when I asked for a clarifying card, I got the beloved card. Sorry, I didn't even show. Let's pause that for a second. There's the family and the little children that I was talking to just before. But now we're jumping to kind of, if we want to call it like the outcome card, if you will. We have the intimacy and the beloved card side by side. So these speak to romantic connection of a high level soul connection. Coming into, I almost want to speak to more towards the end of the month once we pass the equinox threshold. There is a respark of connection, whether that be etherically, physically, or both. I feel like it may be instigated through a dreamlike space. And when I say that, it doesn't necessarily have to mean sleeping. A dreamlike space can be a daydream, a vision, a meditation, a for me, washing the dishes or being in the shower, can come through it in that connection to water. I have two portals in my house. Well, I'm sure I have more, but the two most predominant ones is like the kitchen and bathroom. Um, and I feel like I want to go back to this thing that's like been humming in the background that you haven't had full access to. It could be in relation to the connection with another person. So it's like the pieces of the puzzle that may come through of that aha is like having the backflow effect of the energetics of part of their own soul's experience, unknowingly or unrecognizingly. Is that a word? Anyway, you understand what I'm getting at. But there is like this, I'm seeing like DNA helix strands. I'm seeing like the dolphin frequency, this relationship blossoming, connection, expansion, next level. It feels like an absolute explosion, if I'm honest. And I feel like it takes you by surprise. I don't feel like this is something that's in the most forefront of your mind. This feels like it's coming out of kind of left field. And it may be just a brief encounter and then, it doesn't feel like that. I don't know, but it's like this catalyst sparking. Oh, my ears going off. Igniting is utterly profound. And it may be something to do with those doorways in the heart and releasing the heart. It may be really being able to connect with the intelligence of the heart to clear for these doorways to open for you. But there's so much in there. So I'm going to leave that. If you want to connect with me via a personal session, quantum merging, or any other, I'll put all the details in the description box below. Until next time, I'll connect with you there and sending much love. Oof. All right. I'm just going to pause that right now and move into the next card. Oh, that was a very cosmic frequency that came through that. lot of power and potency that's being flown around. Not surprised. September's always like a powerful punch. All right, let's okay, let's go to the next one. So if you've chosen this one here, B, as soon as I picked up this and I was about to read it, I just heard the words saying, don't give up on your dreams. Don't give up on your dreams. They are still valid. They are all right on cue. Don't give up. You know, don't give up before the miracle occurs kind of message. Just bear with me. I'm just going to, I'm cold all of a sudden. Just put the heater on. So be that the name, so the information that I sat with before recording this that came through, the name of this artwork up here is Awakening the Dream. So the message that wants to be conveyed through the artwork is there is a current process that your body, mind, soul is merging and moving through, which is deeply physical and also plays out through your dreams, visions, or meditations. Things might seem cloudy or foggy, yet what is actually transforming is a much larger expansion at play that your mind cannot comprehend. Unresolved past scenarios are playing themselves out to the full completion within the etheric, or your body is processing out the old energy, imprints, and timelines within the nervous system. This is a time for deep rest, trust, communion with your body, and prepare for the new light of integration awakening from within the center of yourself. So these intuitive insight guidance are designed to not just have the information and message, but the energetic signature of what you need right now in this process. So if you, I won't go into it again, but if you haven't watched the intro of the update, I was talking about the experience that I had around the soul blueprint and how it connects with the nervous system, being in the blue zone. And sometimes we go into the red zone and coming back into the blue zone, and how that is kind of being resolved through this kind of triangular or pyramid type shape structure within the body, but is a whole energetic process that is at play. And so part of the experience that I've been witnessing around that is lots of different timelines dissolving from a 20-year process. And how it's like a deeply impactful process within the body and the body memory. So let's jump in to see what additional information or guidance wants to come through around this. First thing I feel is like you are a conduit, you are a channel, a very pure channel, but you may not necessarily see yourself or recognize yourself as that. A channel of frequency, almost like the imagery of a lightning bolt that, when illuminated or lit up through passion, through insightful inspiration, has this ability and capacity to radiate just such a pure, magnetic, activating frequency in for all of those that you come in contact with. And this is the month to really deeply kind of reignite that spark within yourself. And I think with that energetic process of more of your energy and consciousness coming back, you'll have a greater capacity to connect and to tap into that at times. But just really prepare the body, the electrical system, and the nervous system to take good care so you don't burn out. It's interesting, the cards aren't falling out. So I'll just keep talking until they start to. Oh, okay. What else does this piece of art wish to reveal or convey, express? Don't doubt yourself right now. Like, this would be the time out of any time in your life to fully put the trust and faith in yourself and who you know to be beyond this human form. Oh, there's so much cosmic energy coming in again. Oh, there's I don't even know what to call these beings. They're illuminous. They have very oval shaped faces, very soft, very, I want to say feminine, but they're androgynous. They have a pink iridescence to them. They have a lot of encoding in their form, their physical form, or their light body form. It's very high, like it's very heightened. It's interesting because it's like this is a future aspect of you in what your energy field looks like in the years to come. This is how you represent yourself in energetic form, and that's like a part that's connecting or merging with you. So there's like a multiple part process that is happening. There's this rewiring of old timelines, but there's an overseeing or facilitation process that is occurring with a future version of yourself, and that's how it's representing. Like, it's this very cosmic form. I'm not saying that you're going to transform into that, but that's how the energy expresses. It's an luminous pink with a lot of like encoding in and around it. This may be just very specific for one person. Um, and I'm just seeing it like hovering over the person while they're sleeping and just like gently whispering. It's like, remember, remember. And it's like this tap on the forehead, and then it's like a restoring of information or memory of your greatness, of inspired ideas, and how the action component wants to be expressed. It's such a powerful image. It's like as someone's sleeping, and it's like just like this gentle tap, but then it's like there's all this encoded frequency that looks like symbols, but it's like I can see it's like moving through someone's consciousness as information, as a instruction manual, as almost like a tutorial of how to move with ease and grace. So another component to this rest piece is, if you're not taking the time to attune into this and rest adequately, you may not get the full benefits of receiving what wants to come to you and through you. So I do have one card that's popped out, which is plunge. Don't hold back. It's time. Go for it. Dive in. Taking the plunge. Yeah, okay. So we've got that plunging, diving in. That to me is like this expanded sea of consciousness, of information, of, but it's all you. It's like being immersed in the sea of consciousness that represents all aspects or components or parts of you that kind of want to swirl in and around and become deeply embedded or enmeshed within, so that you can be the vehicle, the vessel to drive in, to drive this feels very project oriented of like what wishes to be expressed through you or by you, or how you the change maker in your world or in the world at large. We've got beneath the surface, what is really driving you, true motives, breaking free. And this may not be entirely relevant, but I'm just going to share what comes with this card. It's like you, in the full expression of yourself coming online, is that this catalyst, transformational change maker. And it's like, just, it's like if something hasn't been in full effect or taken off, it's like it's just dialing. There's a slight shift in the perception of, and it's not the true motive. It's the true vision. I gather it's like when we're working and operating out of like a matrix programming and in higher consciousness of constructing or building something. From what I have experienced over the years, the drive and motivation can never come from a scarcity or a monetary means. It may be the result of what you put out, but the intention and focus has to come from its purest essence of what it's bringing to transform the world through its purest frequency. When you start to attach a number or a price or a it's almost like that creates a limitation in itself, and it doesn't become its full potential, even though that may be what you receive in return for it. Like there is a huge energetic exchange of that, but it's like just slightly shifting the dial to, let's say, it's like, I see it as energetic overlays, when you're playing around on design software, and it's like click to the back or bring forward or push to the back. It's like it's a reshuffling of motivational drives and inspirational pieces. And it's like the exchange piece needs to go at the back as the holding place. It's still there and it's a foundational component to it, but it's not the driving force that gets it out into the world, if that makes sense. Sorry, that's a very abstract way, but I hope that you're kind of receiving how it's wanting to be expressed. It's like, I'll give you an example. I'm working on a project right now that I feel very inspired and very excited. Part of it's to do with the quantum merging, but it's like the next kind of steps and layers. And what I feel has the potency and power to ripple into. And when I look at what it could bring in return, yeah, it could bring, abundance, it could bring all these different things. But that's not the why behind it. The why is like my soul is driving me because I know with absolute certainty that is one of the things I need to tick off my list as part of my soul's path. And it's like the reshuffling of that is what kind of births something into the world more easily and effortlessly than when it's can be clogged down by scarcity or fear programming or anything like that. So I hope that that makes sense. It's like my main motivation and drive to do this project is to create ripples of change in the world. It's not creating it for the monetary gain or anything, accolades or anything like that. It's like my soul knows this piece of work has to get out into the world. Boom. So I feel like if that speaks to you, that is connected to that card. Sorry, that was a long-winded tangent, but it kind of feeds into the wishing well, which comes next. So unexpected gifts, kindness, and karmic jewels, or what I talk about is this karmic reconciliation of being able to receive back to you all that is yours that has been missing, taken away, taken advantage of. The more we reclaim our frequency and our own personal power, whatever has been taken away from us along the awakening or ascension pathway that wasn't for us at that time or wasn't for us but felt painful, it's like we get to a point where everything balances out and it recalibrates, and we've received something else in its place that is equally as precious. So, whether you've gone through financial hardship, it comes back in materials, resources, abundance. And this could be from various like incarnations or timelines too, not necessarily, you know, yeah, tap into your sacral power. This feels like a really potent, powerful time of manifesting in the material world for you, like working with your internal power to be in that creational mode, to birth something. Um, it doesn't feel like it's new. It could be a new creation, but it's like you get to birth it into like the physical manifestation. Like the gestation phase is over. Thank goodness. Whew. So then we've got what is meant for you will find you, which kind of speaks back to this concept of unexpected windfall or gifts, or it's like a reclamation of returning what is rightfully yours back to you. And that could look like so many different things, but it's like whatever the pieces were that felt like they were unjustifiably removed from your life or taken from you, it feels like there's like a gifting back of mm, maybe it's the same thing returning, or maybe it's back in its more enhanced form, but it feels like a gifting back of what you potentially feel has been missing or was unfairly removed from your life. Goodness, hang on. Oh, it slipped through the crack. The magic of nothingness. Okay. I almost want to say like the immaculation, um, the magic of the imagination of the expansiveness. So that often happens in the zero space, the void space of nothingness. Allow yourself to dream, I feel like. Dream it, see it, perceive it, actualize it, realize it, live it. And then we have the unraveling. It may feel like a mysterious process, but it's like be in the unraveling, be in the fine tune. It feels like it's a fine tuning process that's occurring. Oh my goodness, we've got the intimacy card again. You might want to go back and watch. This might be an unfolding story going through all the readings. Illumination. illumination through intimacy, deeply connecting with self or another. Illum- yeah, illumination, Mother Mary, and color. I want to read these backwards. The color feels like a powerful force in the creational process of your life. You want to bring something or magnetize, become the embodiment of that color. Like I was talking about in the intro about that color that I was witnessing upon awakening, and knowing that that represents my highest level of consciousness. It's like connecting with your color of what it is that you're wanting to experience is the vibrational match. And that may be quite abstract for some people to think of a creation as a color, but I think that everything in energetic form is a representation of sound, frequency, color, vibration. And so just being in the color, immersing yourself in the color of your own personal creation is a visual way to represent the vibrational match. Yeah. There's almost all this cosmic code energy coming in. So the Mother Mary is followed by that. It's interesting because I want to talk about this process of reclamation, illumination. We've got both cards there, and I'm very drawn to what's illuminating in and around the head, the eyes, the perception, the illumination of the path, being guided by the feminine, the internal feminine aspect or element. When I connect with the frequency of Mary or that divine feminine embodiment, which can come in many different names or visual representations, it always sparks the energy of miraculous frequency of like a blue. This like, and that is a very significant color that I believe that when we bring it through our bodies can create transform transformation. So there's like a very powerful process that is occurring. I've just become aware that during this reading, I'm noticing a lot of intense things happening within my own body. So if you're going through a lot of body stuff, hold in there. It's worth it. It's part of the process. But there's this real pregnancy energy of right with a birthing of some description, a birthing of the new version of yourself, perhaps. Um, it's potent. It's potent. I'm gonna yeah, so we've got the illuminate and we've got the intimacy card. So that may be specific for some of you in terms of a deeper level of intimacy, perhaps in your own birthing or creative process, or it might be, maybe fertility with another. Because I do feel this birthing energy going on. Doesn't matter if you're male or female, we've all birth creation through energetic form, but it's our feminine expression that does that. So it may be a deeper connection with your own feminine goddess like frequency that's calling you through this. Miracles. Yeah. There has a real Egyptian overtone to it as well. So we've got the Ankh in there, and we've got the Eye of Horus up the top, the sun energy, and the tree. So it's like the foundation of the growth, like the tree roots that are grounding, earthing, and anchoring the higher mind, the illumination within, and then the eternal life force energy. Ooh. I feel like this is a really powerful month of manifestation and creation. And what I want to say is, as you embark on the beginning of this month, set a very strong intention and allow it to unfold. Be guided each day through the stream of guidance and flow, following the cues. But it's like, I feel like whatever you're setting out to achieve in this month can be achieved by the end of the month. But it's just setting that overarching intention and then following the daily cues. So I hope that that helps someone out there. I hope that that prompts you to delve deeper into your process of what is unraveling. Of course, if you'd like to connect with me through a session or a quantum merging session, all the details will be in the description box below. And if not, I will catch you next time. Oh, all right. I'm going to disconnect from that energy just for a second. That's like ooh, some intense bodily stuff going on. All good, but very intensive. Very, very intensive. Let's jump into the lucky last. So if you've chosen C, this card here, this card was a little bit inspired by my etheric surgical eye surgery operations um, that took place over the last couple of days. Let's see. I wrote down a message about this one. But the name that was given, I giggle. It was like I Spy. I Spy. It just kept ruminating in and around, like, oh, and I couldn't get another name, so it was like I Spy. Okay. It says you're being watched, overseen. There is great interest in what you're doing and moving through, and what's occurring through your reality. The observer is you from higher consciousness state, fractal aspects of your consciousness that are not in physical or human form. You are now passing a threshold of what hasn't yet been possible within a human form or body. There are abilities which have been dormant for some time, perhaps since childhood, that wants to be given back to you. As the veils of illusion get removed from your eyes, you're able to see beyond your current time space. A gift or a glimpse into your future is what awaits. Just ask, open your field, and receive. So that's what the image itself wanted to express. And let's see what other cards want to come in. Very chaotic energy around this one. I feel very unsettled in my mind. And this may be part of what's happening in the mind's eye, the physical eyes. But straight off the bat, there's a lot of scatteredness. I would first of all recommend to do some energy scans and clearing of your own field because it feels very chaotic and not necessarily all your own pieces of frequency. It's like lots picking up a lot of astral debris, mental debris, collective debris. Just if you're feeling like you can't connect or access yourself, it's like rest assured there's like lots of stuff going on that's making it much harder for you. So, you know, book a session, do it yourself, whatever appeals or appeases to you. find guided processes on YouTube, have a long bath with the intention to clear your field, spend an hour out in nature with the intention to clear all that scatteredness. Lie on the ground. It's like whatever you choose to do, just set that intention, and a lot of that will lift and shift and clear for you. There's a lot of green energy. So there may be a lot of healing through nature or connecting with the earth itself that might be really helpful for you. It's funny. That car popped up before and I put it back. It's come out again. So I won't do that again. But it's, yeah, let it rain, allowing what is inevitably and trust. So I think that's a really powerful image that's come up because it's someone lying with their back on the earth or the water, but it's just in that full state of trust and surrender and allowing energetic attunements. There is a rainbow there. So there's a rainbow frequency above. Perhaps it wants to connect directly to you, but it's just like allowing this process of purification and clearing and cleansing to allow your more solid self to reemerge. And then I feel like then you can get the clarity or move forward or whatever it is that is pressing on for you. But it's like the importance is like stop, clear, and then continue with whatever it is. Feels like for some of you, there's some very big life choices that are kind of at the forefront, making decisions and big choices that are coming up. And so it's like if there's like a whole heap of probable scenarios, you probably, it may be part of why there's so much energy just like running through your field. So we have making waves, momentum is building, your time, achievement. I don't know, when I look at that card, to me, it feels like adamantly clear that you are making waves, you are moving in the right direction, but it feels like there's a lot of resistance energy. There's like a push pull, kind of like throwing you about a little bit in the eye of the hurricane, like the eye of a needle, so to speak. But I feel like what I was saying in the beginning, it's like if you just set your intention that today I'm going to clear all this out of my field and then follow through with whatever you're prompted or guided, whatever action step to take, that's going to diffuse a lot of it. And it's like then it's like the water, the path opens. The what am I? Parting of the waters can happen, can start to operate and occur. Feels like you're in very uncharted territory and waters. You, I want to say like you have no idea what's just on the horizon or what's coming for you. The cards that I'm looking at is the Pink Dolphins, Celebration Fun, Unbridled Joy, Open Heart, and Planetary Wave, Soul Mission, Trust the Inner Call, Soul Team. There feels like there's an indigenous wisdom with this. That's just the energy. Feels like your path is quite ancient, or the soul path that you've chosen is reconnecting more with ancient wisdom and knowledge. No doubt it's a part of the radicalization of what's transforming in your life. And I think if it does feel quite chaotic and uncertain, the clarity is absolutely making waves underneath to kind of like push through. And that could be a big focal point for you of this month, is like really getting clear on what your calling is, your soul's calling. Because I think like that's that key point of like you've got no idea what's coming for you because it feels potentially like something you haven't fully considered. It doesn't feel foreign to you. It's just not something that you've considered to do proactively. Perhaps it might be something that just comes naturally to you that you do, but it's like this to me feels like it has the energy of like, when you hear those stories of like life was, just humming along, it was pretty chill, and then all of a sudden I kind of got the push to, create a YouTube channel or create this or create that. And I just did it as a fun thing to do. And all of a sudden it kind of blew up overnight. It kind of has that feeling to me to it, but it feels like it's not part of what you do per se. It's like, or at least professionally, or it's like something you might do for fun, but then it takes a bigger turn. It's kind of got that momentum and building, like momentum underneath momentum and building of, it's very natural to you, but it's like you didn't take it seriously enough that it would, create a stream of income perhaps, or play a bigger role in your life than, what you gave it credit to. Perhaps it's like maybe someone who plays, I'm just giving out scenarios here, but like someone who plays a instrument as a hobby and doesn't even like let anyone play, and then all of a sudden they get called in to like fill in for someone with a band, and then next thing they're like, playing in a band. It's like it kind of has that unexpected twisted turn that is natural, but it will require some form and level of courage. So trust yourself. What is that? It's an owl with a heart and an eye. Yeah, just really trust in those um intuitive hunches, and like follow the guidance and wherever it calls you and takes you, because it's like it's got really profound implications to create like a whole trajectory change, but it feels very divinely orchestrated. It's out of the blue to the humanness of you, but maybe not to the soul aspect. And then we've got a treasure box, gift yourself. I feel like that is the gifts and abilities returning back to you, like in that message. It's like the abilities that you've had perhaps that were more predominant in childhood, that then it's almost like they got taken, like like an adult would, just like we'll just keep them in a safe space for now. And then it's like this being given back to you for you to exercise and work with and take it perhaps to the next level. Oh, this is really special for me. It's the peacock card. You are brilliant. So it's really about allowing the natural born genius within you to reemerge and to be really comfortable in that true version or expression of yourself that may be a bit quirky or a bit what's the word I'm looking for? No, it's gone. Quirky, like out there, like um there's a word that very, very no, it's gone. It'll come back to me. Um, just allow this process of your uniqueness to really come through. That word's going to stop me. It's going to annoy me now. Yeah, explore your fullness. I feel like there's a lot of nature in these cards and waterfall. I feel like nature is a very soothing component for you to be able to connect with, to maybe allow the stream of the information to come through. But I feel like there's a powerful calling within you of just wanting that the why am I being blocked from that word? It's like the it doesn't want to come through. Your full nature. Let's just just call it that. It's like the quirkiness, the uniqueness, the ways in which you have this unique ability and gifts, and like you're not mainstream. You are very stand in your own right. Hmm. Let this be your sign. There's an illumination pathway right there. Put that card to the side because it says split your focus. I'll show it, but I'm not really getting a lot from it. It doesn't feel like it fits within this card. Or is it more about splitting away from how you have been, letting go of inner inhibitions and allowing yourself to kind of really explore that fullness? It's interesting. I've literally had a taste of like curry spices and like what is that, cardamom? I'm literally it's like if someone's watching this eating like a curry or something that's rich with spices right now, please comment. It was almost like I got a taste of it. It's really it's making me hungry. Sorry. Side note. And that look, that might be a message for you too. It might be additional senses of taste and smell coming online, not the more known ones, but the more lesser dealt with, perhaps, but still very valid and valuable. It feels like there's a bit of an ADHD, like when I was talking about scatterness, it feels like the mind kind of jumps around all over the place in this a little bit. it could seem erratic, but there is method to the madness of it all, the stillness and the chaos. It's, yeah, feels, I don't feel like I have a lot to say in this because it goes back to that saying of like, you've got no idea what's ahead, what's to come. It's a time of newness, of like unexpected surprises, twist turns, plot twists, but in a really magnificent way that kind of allows you to come into your own eccentricities. That's the word I was looking for the whole time. There we go. Breakthrough. It allows that aspect of you to come more to the forefront, to be more present, to be more playful, to be your unique self. And through that expression, I feel that's where doors and opportunities, now it's flowing, start to kind of open and move for you, because it's like perhaps you've been playing it small and not really embracing the true nature of who you are. And as you allow that to come and shine through more and more and more, you put yourself through your own purgatory hell. um yeah, it feels like it's like giving, it's like leaving all the judgment behind and the humanness of like, what will people think, people's perceptions and things like that. It's like leaving that all at the door and walking through with just like this embracing of, I am who I am, love me or leave me, and being really surprised as to how much that is embraced. Yeah, it feels really good. It feels really good. Yeah, peace and war. That feels like what you're kind of moving out of, because it feels like, I think there's probably a lot of harsher judgments of self, or misplaced perceptions of how people may receive you, that creates this inner conflict or battle that hasn't allowed you to kind of embrace your art, like that unique nature of yourself more fully. So it's like that wants to come through. Yeah, perception. Hmm. Like they look a bit similar. They look a bit similar. Changing or shifting your perception of self changes how people receive you, is how I want to interpret that card. So interestingly enough, at the end of every of these readings, we've got the intimacy card that comes through. And this one has been paired with sacred sexuality and the Sophia card. So it's almost like the narrative and story in each of these readings is like getting to that breakthrough allows a connection, a deeper level of relationship, a deeper intimacy to reignite. The Sophia card talks about someone who needs your forgiveness or vice versa. So this could be a reconciliation of a past love interest or connection, or someone who has been significant in the past, reconciling someone so you can move forward, like many different layers of how that could, but this feels like past, and that could, it doesn't have to be past in this timeline or lifetime, but it feels like there's a reconciliation of a unification that wants to kind of reignite or spur you on, support you into that next evolution of yourself. I think I'm going to leave that there. But remember and go back to the original message that you're being overseen right now by your own level of consciousness. And it may be that more alien type or cosmic type expression that wants to come through you in human form, that shows its greatness, its uniqueness, and that you're at the tipping point of moving beyond what has previously been known in human form. So you're you're walking new territory, new terrain, new exploration, but you are being guided. And just to know that you are, I almost want to say that you are safe, protected, and loved. That's very corny, but it feels like, yeah, there is an overseeing process, and know that all is taken care of. So I'm going to leave that with you. If you'd like to connect with me for quantum merging or any other session, all the details will be in the description box below. If not, I will catch you next time. And thank you so much for being here. Mwah. Much love.